Hey, what's up guys? Welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Sarah and today we are going to choose the 6 books that I will be reading in March. I'm really excited for this stack. So let's not waste any time. Let's get into it and talk about what I did or didn't read in February. So the first prompt that I got for February was number in the title. And for that one, I actually have it right here. For that one, I chose The Deathless One by Emma Hamm. This is the first in a trilogy, I believe, from her. It is the Grave Singer Volume 1. And I did read this. I really enjoyed it. I gave it 5 stars. It was so much fun. It was so interesting and I just had a really good time with it. So I really enjoyed this one and I did read it. The next book that I had was one that is not out here. The next prompt that I had was to continue a series, and for that one I chose The Butcher's Masquerade by Matt Didman. That is book 5 in Dungeon Crawler Carl. I did finish this. I started it at the end of January and it took me a whole month to read it. Like exactly a month to read it, but I did finish this book. It is 707 pages. It is a chunky book, but I read it. I loved it. Obviously, I gave it 5 stars. I love that series. It is so amazing, and I have since picked up more from Matt Didman that I'm really looking forward to. I haven't started the next book in the series yet, but it is going to be coming up soon, hopefully, somewhere, sometime. The next prompt that I got was a new release, and for that one I read The Elsewhere Express. I'm not going to pull it down because it is up there in like my spot of fame, but it is The Elsewhere Express by Samantha Sada Yambao, same author of Watermoon. I read this. I loved it. I gave it 6 stars. My first 6-star read ever and my first of the year. It is the highest rated book I've had all year. I've since had 5-star reads, thank goodness, but thankfully that was the first one of the year. I absolutely love that book. It is about a couple of people who are very, very lost in their lives. They've given up their hopes, their dreams, and they're just lost. And they get on this train, and somehow this train magically turns into the Elsewhere Express, which is a magical train that helps you go along and find your path in life. And I loved it. I love her writing. It is so whimsical. It is one of those books that you just go along for the ride and you just enjoy the magic of it. It is just, I love it. I love her writing. I will continue to read from her. The Elsewhere Express I think I loved even more than Watermoon because I felt for these characters so deeply. The issues, the hardships that they've faced in their past, and the hardships they're facing in the moment. Like, I just felt for these characters and I absolutely loved it. So 6 stars. I don't normally give 6 stars like ever, but loved it. The next prompt that I had was Gillyweed, which is a water or a sea setting. This was inspired by my Mandrake March bingo board that I did last year, and of course by Harry Potter. And for that one I chose Ship of Spells by H. Layton Dixon. I haven't gotten to this one. I really, really want to read this. I just didn't get to it yet. I was doing other books for other videos and it didn't have time. So that one is still on my TBR. I haven't gotten to it yet. The next one I had was by Sarah, and for that one, of course, I chose Servant of Earth by Sarah Hawley, and I still have yet to read it. So once again, we are putting it back on my shelves, but I still need to read it. I'll get to it some point. The next prompt that I had was an old timer, and for that one I chose Descendant of the Crane by Joan He. Again, this is one that I just didn't end up having time for with reading other books for videos. And then with my husband being home, I didn't do a ton of reading, more than the last time. But I didn't do a ton of reading. I was focusing on Butcher's Masquerade, and so I just didn't end up getting to it, and that's just the way that the cookie crumbles. So that being said, I am 3 out of 6, so I got 50% on my February TBR, which isn't great, but it's at least something. I'm hoping to improve that as the year goes on, but we'll see how that actually realistically goes. But yeah, so that being said, I'm doing 6 throws. If you have not been here before, I throw knives at a box to choose my prompts for the month, and it is a lot of fun. I'm not very good at it, but I think it's a really fun way to choose my prompts. I've been doing this for a few years now, and I love doing it this way. So I will throw 6 times to get, or however many times it takes to get 6 prompts, and we will choose my March TBR. So let's get into the first throw. Alright, so my very first prompt that I got is a secret TBR. And I am very, very, very excited to say that I will be reading The Astral Library by Kate Quinn. This one just came out at the end of February, and I am so looking forward to this. Kate Quinn wrote The Alice Network, she wrote The Rose Code, she wrote, gosh, what else? The Huntress, and a whole bunch of World War II historical fiction. She's done other historical fiction like Ancient Rome, I believe, but I haven't read those. And this is her first foray into magical realism. I can't wait. I already know that I absolutely love her writing, and I'm so excited to try this one out. So this one is following a girl. It says, just to be specific, it says Alexandra Alex Watson has learned one lesson from her barren childhood in the foster care system. Unlike people, books will never let you down. Working 3 dead-end jobs to make ends meet and knowing college, Alex takes nightly refuge in the high-vaulted reading room at the Boston Public Library, escaping into her favorite fantasy novels and dreaming of far-off lands until the day she stumbles through a hidden door and meets the librarian, the ageless, acerbic guardian of a hidden library where the desperate and the lost escape to new lives inside their favorite books. The librarian takes the dazzled Alex under her wing, but before she can escape into the pages of her new life, a shadowy enemy emerges to threaten everyone the Astral Library has ever helped protect. Aided by a dashing costume shop owner, Alex and the librarian flee through the Regency drawing rooms of Jane Austen to the back alleys of Sherlock Holmes' London and the champagne-soaked parties of The Great Gatsby as danger draws inexorably closer. But who does their enemy really wish to destroy? Alex, the librarian, or the library itself? This book sounds amazing. It is delving into classic worlds that we all know of, at least. I don't read a lot of classics, but I read Gatsby. I didn't care for it. I thought the movie was honestly better, and I don't even like, crap, what's his name? I don't even like the Spider-Man guy. I don't like him at all. So, I love Leonardo DiCaprio, though. So I've read Gatsby, and I've read a few classics, but not a ton. But I'm so excited to delve into this and see how she does with magical realism. Like I said, I already know that I love Kate Quinn's writing, and so I'm really, really excited to try out something else from her that's not World War II historical fiction. Alright, my next prompt, I got a reread. And I was debating on what I wanted to do for this one. I was wondering if I wanted to do TJ Klune or if I wanted to do The Hobbit, because I do want to read The Hobbit this year again. But the one that I decided to go with is one that I haven't picked up in over a decade. And that sounds really weird saying that, but it's been a really long time since I've picked up this book. And I think it's time for me to finally buckle down and read this darn book again, because it was always one of my favorites all through school. This book was one of the series that got me super into reading again in high school and kept me interested in reading throughout high school. And that is The Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Lady Taylor. Her writing is phenomenal. I love her world building. I love her. I love it. I was able to picture this world and these characters so well. The only thing that I have ever found to even compare to Laini Taylor since I read these books, world building wise and like picturing it in my mind, is Sarah Beth Durst. And that I just found a couple years ago. So, that being said, I am very nervous about going back into these books. So if you don't know what these books are about, these books are about a girl who is different. She has blue hair, she has hamsas on her hands, and she lives in a shop of curiosities. Now in this shop of curiosities, the guy that has raised her is not human. He is like a lion ram thing. He is a, what's the word called? Or what's the word for it? Oh, I can't remember what they're called. Chimera. However you say that word. Chimera. And she's been raised by him, and his name is Brimstone. And he collects teeth. So people come in and they trade him teeth for magic. Now there's different levels of magic. They are in the form of like little, like almost like pearls, that you crush the pearls and then you get the magic. And there's different levels of magic. There are things that are just very, very minor, where you can basically make somebody have, like, say, make their nose itch uncontrollably. And then there's also higher levels that are harder to obtain. Now one day, and there's other chimera that she lives with, but that's like the main one. And one day, Brimstone disappears. A black handprint is smoldered onto the door of the shop, and Brimstone is gone. She can't get in, and like she's stuck. She doesn't know what to do. And it goes from there. Now, like I said, it's been about a decade at least since I read these books, but I loved these. This is one of the very first books that I ever actually reread. Every time, because there's 3 books in this series. 4 if you would count the novella. So there's 4 books in this series, and every time a new book came out, I would reread the ones prior to the new one, and then before I would read the new one. So that's a big deal for me because I don't reread a lot of books. It usually has to be a pretty darn good series or a pretty darn good book for me to reread it, and I don't really read YA anymore, which is why I'm super nervous about this book. But actually talking to you guys again about just what it's about, it made me even more excited to read this. Now this is my original copy that I had from years and years and years ago. And you know what's funny? 10 bucks. I got this book for 10 bucks, you guys. That's crazy compared to what books are now. So this book originally came out in 2011. Isn't that wild? So I read these when they were pretty new because I read them as they were coming out. And now that I've talked so much about this book, let's get into our third throw. But I'm really looking forward to this. The next prompt that I got is a genre blend, and there are so many different genre blends now, and I think it's so much fun. I've been so excited to get this prompt for quite a while, and I finally did. And I'm so excited to say that the book that I chose for this prompt is For Human Use. This is by Sarah G. Pierce. This is a horror rom-com mashup. So this is this new crazy ass dating app that they come up with, that it is setting humans up with like cadavers, like with dead people, okay? And it's so weird, but I can't wait. So it says it's a dating app for dead bodies. What? It's a swiping app like Tinder, but for dead bodies. Your autocorrect keeps typing dead bodies, corpses, cadavers, whatever you want to call them. Niche dating for people who work with cadavers like funerary workers or med students. Living people, swipe left or right on pictures of dead bodies. If you swipe right, a human corpse gets delivered to, and you live with it. That's not real. The company is called Live. It's legit, as far as any bullshit startup can be legit. Illegal. For Human Use is a twisted tale of modern love, melding rom-com and horror into a wildly original debut novel. You'll never look at dating the same way again. So I know that sounded really weird with me reading out the back, but it is set up as text messages, which is why it sounded so weird. But it is a dating app for dead bodies. And I'm so curious to see what the heck this book is gonna do. And I have no clue. I know that it came out from Orbit Publishing, which is part of the reason that it caught my eye. They had sent me a note asking me if I wanted an early copy. I said yes, however, I wasn't able to get that, so I bought it. And because of the fact that it is from, you know, going through Orbit Publishing, I think it's going to be pretty good. I usually have pretty good luck with it, but it's so different. It's so weird, and I think it's going to be a blast. So this is the one I'm doing for a genre blend because it is rom-com horror. Sounds like a great mashup. Alright, so the next prompt that I got is a one-word title. And for this one, originally I was going to read Hollow, which is a Romantasy book that I just got, and I'm definitely curious about trying it soon. But the one that I decided to get is one I got really recently, and that is called Rabbits. This is by Terry Miles, and it's a sci-fi. I've seen this cover, but I never actually read what it was about. But it's basically like this really, really mysterious game where somebody rich comes up to you, gives you an opportunity to play this game, but it's like, it sounded exactly like Squid Game to me, or at least a lot like Squid Game. It sounded a lot like Squid Game to me, and it piqued my interest, and I'm really curious about it. So it says, Rabbits is a mysterious alternate reality game so vast it uses the entire world as its canvas. Since the game started in 1959, 10 iterations have appeared and 9 winners have been declared. The identities of these winners are unknown. So is their reward, which is rumored to include vast wealth, immortality, or perhaps even the key to the secrets of the universe. But the deeper you get, the more dangerous the game becomes. Players have died in the past, and the body count is rising, and the 11th round is about to begin. Enter Kay, a rabbit's obsessive who has been trying to find a way into the game for years. That path opens when Kay is approached by billionaire Alan Scarpio, the alleged winner of the 6th iteration. Scarpio says that something has gone wrong with the game, and that Kay needs to fix it before 11 starts, or the whole world will pay the price. 5 days later, Scarpio is declared missing, and Kay seems to be all that stands between the world and chaos. So it totally piqued my interest. It sounds kind of like Squid Game, and I'm super curious about it. So this is the one I'm going to put on for my one-word title. The next prompt that I got is an Orbit Publishing book, and I'm very excited to say I have lots of these to choose from, and the one that I ended up going with, it is right there, see, Orbit, and that is Nightshade and Oak by Molly O'Neill. This is the same author as Green Teeth, which I read last year, I believe, and I loved that book. I thought it was so whimsical, so fun. I always say that it reminds me a little bit of like Princess Bride in the way that it's like styled. It's kind of humorous, it's kind of goofy, and it's a little bit, I guess, cringy, but I loved it. I loved that book so much, and I'm still thinking about it to this day of how much of a good time I had with that book. And so with Nightshade and Oak coming out, I knew that I had to put that on my 26 books for 2026, and I had to buy this when it came out. So I'm really looking forward to reading this one. What, Emma? I'm still trying to film. I'll turn it up as soon as I'm done, okay? I promise. It says, from a rising star in cozy fantasy comes the heartwarming tale of a goddess accidentally turned human and her warrior companion as they embark on a quest to restore her immortality. When Malt, the goddess of death, is accidentally turned human by a wayward spell, she finds she's ill-equipped to deal with the trials of immortal life. After all, why would a goddess need to know how to gather food or light a fire? Unable to fend for herself, she teams up with warrior Bellis on a perilous journey to the afterlife to try to restore her powers. Frustrated by her frail human body and beset by blisters, Malt might not make the best traveling companion. But as animosity slowly turns to attraction, these two very different women must learn to work together if they are to have any hope of surviving their quest. So it sounds like it's gonna be the same kind of a cozy fantasy genre, and I'm really, really excited to read this one. I hope I love it anywhere near as much as Green Teeth, because if I do, that is a win in my book, because I loved that one. So I'm really looking forward to putting this one on my TBR and reading it very, very soon. And last but not least, I got a beautiful cover, and now there are so many that I could choose from. I got some really fantastic books in February. Just wait till you see my book haul. I'm so excited about it, and I just can't wait. But the one that I decided I needed to go with sooner rather than later is one that was actually sent to me. So you probably know what it is if you watch my videos, but that is The Trident and the Pearl. This is by Sarah K. L. Wilson. This is a book that Orbit Publishing kindly sent to me to give a review on when I had the opportunity. It came out at the very end of February, and I'm very excited to read this one. This one is a debut novel. It is a fantasy, romantasy book. It's like that sweet spot length because it's only like 450 pages or so. And I love it. The big paperbacks and the like this length. It's just a great size for a fantasy book or for a romantasy book, either way. It says, forced by the gods to be wed, forced by their secrets to be enemies. Queen Coryllis, ruler of the Crocus Isles, kneels to no one. But when her kingdom is besieged by a terrible hurricane, killing her husband and destroying half her nation, she is forced to make a deal with the gods for salvation. But the gods have a wicked sense of justice, and they demand payment for their help. Coryllis must give up her titles and marry the first man to set foot on her pier, a poor wounded fisherman with broad shoulders and dark power in his eyes. Coryllis keeps her promise and sets out with him in his dinghy, with only the hope of revenge against the gods to keep her from despair. But her new husband hides his own secrets, a link to the gods that may make him her enemy or her ally, and a mysterious list of impossible feats waiting to be crossed off. However, learning to trust each other will be their greatest challenge, because only together can they stop the enemies gathering at her kingdom's shores. The Trident and the Pearl is the first book in the spellbinding new romantic fantasy series by Sarah K. L. Wilson. So it sounds really interesting. I could potentially put this in, I believe, for my romantasy bingo as reluctant allies to lovers, like an arranged marriage. I'll have to double check on that, but I could potentially slot this in for that spot, which I think would be great. I need to have that in the back of my mind better because I'm not. But I'm really curious about this one. I'm really excited to try out a new author. I love trying out new debut authors and seeing what they're coming out with, because I've been surprised by so many fantastic books from authors I've never even heard of that have never come out with anything else. So I'm really looking forward to this one, and I hope and I plan to get to all of these books in March. That is my plan right now. I have video ideas around a lot of these books, and I'm very excited for it. So these are the 6 books that I will be reading in the month of March. I am so looking forward to these. Have you read any of these? Are you looking forward to reading any of these? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. I'm so sorry, the light is so weird right now, but let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Thank you so much for being here, hanging out with me for a little bit, and I will see you in my next one. Bye, guys. Swipe life or let